All right, I won't keep you too long out here. We'll make sure we get through all the big points here.
It's important.
Big debut for JP. First off, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to another edition of the Pure Tennis Podcast, powered by Tennis Point. Back in we got myself, Nate Walworth, joined by JP. Big debut for you, your first collegiate dual tennis match at the Ty Tucker Tennis Center in Columbus, Ohio. Got to see the Buckeyes take out the Fighting Irish, a 7-0 clean sweep, 0 sets dropped on the trot. Talk to fans about the difference between watching collegiate tennis and being in that atmosphere versus a typical kind of pro tennis match that you've been accustomed to watching.
I mean, for one, it's a lot louder because all the matches are going on right next to each other. So, points won, they're screaming and yelling, and it doesn't matter if the other guys are right in the middle of some head game duel. Like, it's going to be some screaming and loud crowd reaction. So that part's pretty interesting. But
the Buckeyes have a lot of fans coming out. I'm assuming it was a packed house.
It was completely like standing room only. Like, I mean, we came in. That place is amazing. It's super friendly people coming in to tell you right where to go. But then when we walked in, and we were kind of down at the end because
it's free.
1-2.
It's a joke.
Oh, it's
to watch that level of
100%
play.
Free.
You're watching a challenger level. I mean, it's
like
futures.
The guys were just. I mean, but like courts 1, 2, and 3 completely packed, standing room only. So we got down. We were sitting right behind court 5. And so we watched the doubles.
Got to watch the Trotter backhand,
Jimbo.
Cleanest one-hander out there.
Oh man, he has just got good backhand.
How cool is it to see the coach? Like, coaching matters in collegiate tennis. I mean, those guys are coaching in between points. They can literally walk out there and put their hand around their player.
Yeah.
In between points, which is just it. Kind of you always, even though you're still playing, it's mano a mano. Just to have that type of support out there, I think a lot of guys thrive in that atmosphere that. Maybe, and that's why you see upsets maybe happen more often in college than the pros, I guess, because momentum is different, the atmosphere is different, the momentum changes happen because, I mean, you are getting that live feedback from a coach that's seeing it from a different POV. So
yeah, no, and the matchups too matter because, like Buckeyes, I don't think they really put their highest UTR guy on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right, they didn't go by UTR. No,
they're trying to beat Notre Dame in every single. Get it? I mean, and they did.
They ripped through them. Yeah, it's over. I mean, I told you on the way up there, I was like,
those are bad
that's gonna be a
matchups for
bloodbath.
every one of those Notre Dame guys because
the size difference is huge. I mean, you watch just looking at on paper, like this just body prototype. I mean, Ohio State has big athletes, guys that look like grown men, and Notre Dame for being a very. I think they might not.
They had a
I don't
disadvantage.
even know if they're top 40, but they don't have any of those top guys that really would put a Buckeye in danger. I mean, Buckeyes to me are a contender to win the NCAA tournament. They just fell in the ITA Indoor Nationals in Chicago to a Texas team that they had a win over earlier this season. Both those teams are loaded with, across the board. I mean, Texas has their fair share of pros as well. They've got the number 1 tennis player in the country in Elliot Spizzirri. And they reached the finals, falling to TCU, the Horned Frogs, going back-to-back titles. I mean, what Roditi has going for him and his guys, one of the best coaches in tennis right now. Guys, if you guys haven't watched him, he's got his signature cowboy hat on. He just looks like, if you see him on the streets, you might guess that dude coaches at TCU. He just and TCU's loaded. I mean, they have so many pros. I mean, across the board. I was talking to Gruskin on the Cracked Rackets mini break podcast. Gruskin thinks that they have 5 or 6 pros on that team, and it's just like that is ridiculous. That's you're watching pro level, future or challenger level matches when you see these national events come through.
Well, and the Buckeyes do too. That's one of the things I think it'd be. I want to see. I want to see that matchup.
I think Buckeyes have 7 guys over 13 UTR.
Yeah.
Which is, and they've got who's the highest? Was it Trotter? Is it 13.99?
Playing 5.
Basically a 14 UTR, playing at 5 singles. I mean, that's a joke. So
when you said we were looking back for to find his last loss, and it was in a challenger, so they're
in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to beat him, you got to. Yeah.
Good luck with that guy.
So that's why I couldn't believe that the Buckeyes lost. Was it 4-0 against Texas?
Yeah.
They got destroyed.
No. 4-3. They beat Texas. They cleaned them.
They beat Texas 4-0, and then they lost them 4-3.
Yeah. And like you said too, they were exhausted because you kind of come through.
Did Spizzirri clinch that number 1? I watched all those college matches. I'm already getting them mixed up.
It's
I know
so long ago.
Yeah, no, but it was guys. Chicago. I mean, if you guys missed it, Cracked Rackets put on a hell of a stream. It was just a ton of fun to watch that, and I can't wait to get down to the. I will miss the team event in Orlando this year. My sister's wedding, unfortunately, bad timing. She's got to do better, but I will. I'll be at the individual event down at the UST headquarters. So let's talk about some of the pro action that just happened. Most recently, we'll hit on Qatar. Medi, back-to-back titles, took Rotterdam last week, takes home the title in Qatar this week with a 6-4, 6-4 win over the dark horse.
Muzzard.
Andy Muzzard Murray. Sir Andy, I mean...
Sir Andy came into this, though, with some quality wins.
I mean, the gas tank had to be low. The fact that he only lost 4-4 to Medi is no shame in that loss at all. I mean, Murray emptied the tank against... I mean, really, every match he's been playing this year, he has not... He's of his 6 wins in 2023, did you know all 6 have come in a deciding set?
I know. I saw that. Like, I heard him talking about it after Lehechka, like just coming through. But
I believe he's 6-0 now in deciding sets in 2023. So that Lehechka match, I know you and I were dialed into that. I mean, guys, go back and watch the highlights. I mean, even though you won't be able to get like a real appreciation for what Muzzard had to go through.
Muzzard lost that match 3 or 4 times.
He defended 5 match points.
He should have been done.
He should have been. I mean, he was down 40 low. Yeah. It was 5-4 Lehechka serving it out, and Murray he said it best.
Scooping up Lehechka's winners. Like, that was the craziest part, is that they were clean winners. And he's just like, wait, there he is.
And Murray said, like, I just knew this was his first time serving out a match to get to a big final, and he said he remembered his first time doing that and how the pressure and the kind of the feelings that you get going along with that. And he's like, I wanted to make him finish me. I wanted to make him hit that extra ball. And a couple of those balls, I mean, Murray was like, he just torched the backhand down the line.
It totally wobbled. I mean, you could tell the pressure. It was the pressure because it was. You could feel it. I keep watching it, that the legs were like wobbling, and he's taking like his next approach is just going to the bottom of the net, and it's just like an easy take.
He missed that. Well, I mean, Murray peppered that ball, but he missed that volley. And then at deuce, once it finally got to deuce, I was like, this is trouble for Lehechka. He's gonna feel it. He hits that great serve, comes to the net, has an approach shot where Murray completely guessed wrong, and he clips the tape, and you're just
God, that one.
You knew it was over. At that point, you knew Murray had all the momentum.
The world was over.
And it was just, guys, I would definitely go back and watch the highlights of that match. I mean, good Lord, what Andy Murray is doing this year. But anyway, I mean, those was
fanning balls out to the right too. Lehechka, like you could tell, that was a pressure moment because he couldn't keep the ball in play.
Right.
It's like
he was dropping 140-mile-an-hour serves,
just bombs.
And there was a few times there where I was like, Muzzard has to just run out of, like, the gas tank has to be out. And he was, I mean, then he did like the fake calf injury or cramp that I thought
it looked real. But
was it 6-all on the breaker?
Yeah.
And he pulls that, and it looked real. No, it was a drop shot, but it was like
front.
He limped around like it was like going to be over, and all of a sudden he comes back, and what a celebration Murray had with his mom Judy in the corner of the missed shot there. That she was right there to celebrate. He's 35 years old, and his mom is still just as excited as she was when he was
slapping the
18
net.
or 19 years old. Pretty cool to see. But Medvedev, that's the story of the tournament. He is back to being one of those dominant players on a hard court in tennis, and I think we need guys that are like tennis with Nadal being out with injury a lot, Fed retiring. We just need some consistent faces to take home titles and to be challengers at the big tournaments. And I think Medi is one of those guys that tennis needs to step up. And I was happy to see him regain his footing because the Aussie Open in 2022, losing that to Nadal after being up 2 sets in a break, I think that took a lot of wind out of his sails. It took him a year to look like Medvedev again, where he's having fun with he's still yelling at his box a little bit, like where it's just like he used to not do that. But when he hits a ridiculous shot, when he does no celebration and he just walks over there, and he's doing a couple of the finger waves again, and it's like, all right, Medi's back. That's where we can lean in on him and Carlos and Novak and Cam and Felix and Casper. It's just like tennis is.
I think that he dressed down Felix too, and
twice.
But just like to get that confidence back too, kind of put him in. He played his game, just like standing in on him, and just, I mean, putting him into a place where it's just backhand cross courts for 20, 30 shots until like Felix, like just daring Felix to try to hit a winner and just daring him to do it and knowing that that's how he's going to beat him. Like that's total Medi tennis. And like I think that for me, like watching Medvedev come back and start playing that way is like that's kind of scary for other people. No, and the fact that he's won 2 tournaments back to back, kind of doing
especially
that, especially
in those draw. I mean, pretty tough draw in Rotterdam, and not.
Yo, absolutely.
And not a great and he had some tough matches in Qatar as well. But I think with Medi, like watching him bait Felix into like hitting a decent second serve, kind of short in the box, and Felix taking a rip at it, but kind of make the ball coming back so quick, it makes recovering back to the middle of the court. You just have less time for yourself. Yeah. And Medi just ropes that ball across court and just like hits that winner deep in the second set there.
Oh, totally.
And you were just like, wow, because Felix had chances, but Medi was just trusting his legs. I mean, I felt like Felix could have come and knocked off some of those volleys when you have Medi well outside the single or doubles court, but he's just so athletic and so rangy that Felix is second guessing himself on when to come forward because he doesn't want to catch that ball low, and Medi's recovery from deep in the court to cover the short ball is just he's an octopus. Like
in the first set too, I felt like Medvedev was completely dominant, but the second set Felix was dominant.
I mean,
then to kind of like fizzle at the end, just completely fizzle. Like that's
Felix was pissed. I mean, you don't see him show that type of emotion, but he wanted to send a ball out of the stands. He wanted to hit one against the he was pissed at himself. He felt like that was an opportunity, and at this point, I felt like that loss that could do some long-term damage, and just in terms of like you lose 6 times in a row to somebody. Never with 0 wins over him in your career, it just kind of becomes a mental thing at that point.
6-0. And then also too the grunt war, Medvedev totally outclassed him on the growl. He was doing that. Outgrowled him.
He was doing that like Medi plays the psychological.
That's a psychological
warfare is just amazing for Medi. He was doing it. He's controlling his ball to the baseline with that grunt. I swear, I'm like, this dude's a freak.
But you can't do that to Felix. That's his grunt. He just
but I was happy he did that. Dude, Felix's grunt is brutal. Like it's one of the worst grunts, and I can't stand Felix's grunt. So I was like,
he took it.
I was not Medi's gone like in waves with me. I'm like I'm happy to see him win again.
You love the fish dance or the fish
celebration. The floppy fish, dead fish celebration at the U.S. Open is iconic.
Legend.
Legend. Nothing will ever top that in my book. Like just flopping over like a dead fish.
Legends.
That is for the kids. That's for the kids at home.
Yeah.
But all right, that's enough on Qatar. We just spent probably way too long on that one.
No, it was great. We're going to turn.
It was.
Delray. Let's go to Delray.
We can real quickly just because it's Medi's back-to-back title. We can talk about Rotterdam briefly.
Yeah. What an amazing draw.
Rotterdam was loaded. I mean, Grigor Dimitrov with 2 huge wins. He took out Hurkacz, and then he took out de Minaur facing match points. And the tiebreaker, like first off, that whole match was ridiculous, but the match point was absurd. But Grigor and de Minaur were putting on a hell of a show, and I think Grigor looks like he's very fit. A guy, didn't have enough gas in the tank against. He got dismantled against Medvedev, but Medi took out Felix again in that event, and then took out Sinner in a final after dropping the first set 7-5. Went on to win 2-2 in the second and third set. A statement win for Medi, and that's when you kind of felt like he was back, and then he did it. Obviously, back to back, it's like, okay, we got one of the best players back in a good mental state. He looks like he's ready to be a contender. At least for the Sunshine Swing.
I feel like with Medvedev, we can move on, but I feel like he is most comfortable when he's completely pulling the strings on people, and like if he's not doing that and just trying to beat people and the way he was doing it last year, it's just not a good showing. But when he's doing this stuff, just like standing on like cross courts for 30 shots.
We haven't seen him match up against Carlos or Novak in this stretch, which is the 2 guys that are going to challenge him on hard courts the most. But the Sunshine Swing with him
dressing down the young guys, though. He's good at that.
He is. Can't wait for Indian Wells. Can't wait for Miami. But before we get to that, we got more to recap, and we also need to talk about a little bit Acapulco as well as Dubai. But Rio, Cam Norrie gets revenge from the Argentina Open last week. Today just happened. Yep. Takes out Carlos Alcaraz. Epic third setter. Just his 5th title, his first ATP 500 event title. What did you see from Cam Norrie and Carlos today that impressed you most?
Well, Cam Norrie coming through and kind of outlasting Alcaraz. Alcaraz definitely got some sort of injury.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a bummer.
But it's kind of weird because it's like both legs, because it sounded like he had the right leg the day before and the left leg. I don't remember what
he's called medical timeouts in a number of his matches the last couple weeks.
For the abs, and now it's the upper hamstring.
Yep.
So he was definitely not moving. I would say the big takeaway.
That was not until deep in the third though. That was like 2 or 3 all. No, it's probably 2 all.
They wrapped him up in the middle of the
second.
They wrapped him up in the middle of the third set.
Like 2 all, right?
But he was like kind of like
they wrapped
he was
him up
stretching it out in the second set. So
then he took it off. But what were you?
He tore it off.
How good is like Cam Norrie is like the fact that he's able to athletically and both like just like stamina wise last for back-to-back weeks just says a lot about what he's doing off the court with his body. Because I mean the tennis has been there for a couple of years now where he's just been that, but like. Now his fitness and his just athleticism has seemed to just taken another step up.
Oh, yeah.
And he's able to, like, I mean, when you think you got him beat, he's able to just punch that ball back to the baseline again with no pace and get him back in. And he's got the, like you call it, moonballing, which is.
He was moonballing him. I mean.
The high topspin forehand.
Can't drop shot from a moonball. Like.
Very hard to drop shot when the ball's above your chest. Yeah. But Cam Norrie's just such a good problem solver. I mean, where he was taking their serves, both guys taking the ball 4 or 5 feet inside the service line, or inside the baseline, was just the timing was impeccable from both players.
Well, and the whole crowd is completely against him. I would say that the toughness side, maybe you said people feed off that too, but like clearly everybody there is rooting for Alcaraz, like, and he's just standing in on it and just being okay with that. And like, I mean, even though Alcaraz is just taking like drunk slap shots at every single ball that comes in at him.
I mean, once he got hurt. He was just hitting T-ball, just ripping the ball, and then hitting drop shots from anywhere. Kind of dangerous. Oh, it is. No, he is dangerous. That dude's got a weapon on there.
He can do that almost.
But I think with Cam Norrie though, it's just like I haven't always loved watching him play, but his ability to redirect and just like he never seems to like lose patience in the rally. Like if you're gonna crack winners like Alcaraz was able to do a lot of times, Cam Norrie doesn't get flustered and just start trying to swing out of his shoes.
Yeah, he stays so positive.
He stays so positive, and he just continues to go back to the laboratory and just kind of keep digging his hole. Like
I was like impressed. I didn't realize he was born in South Africa and like moved to New Zealand and like Auckland or whatever, and then went to Texas, Christian. And then now he represents England.
I know he was. Maybe the Horned Frogs going back to back gave him that extra juice.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe
TCU.
He's kind of the face of the franchise, as I like to say, of the Horned Frogs, and he left a legacy that Roditi and those guys have carried on, and it's now a program that has been notoriously a top 3 or 4.
Well, like where's that going to put him? Like that's a top like two finals in 2 weeks, and then he's got 1 win.
Is he really going to play Acapulco? It's like, does he have gas in the tank to start another tournament here? These guys don't get tired. I don't understand it. It's like. And then if you play Acapulco, are you really going to have enough in the tank to go to Indian Wells?
Like
then
Miami.
It starts on March 8th.
Then go right to Miami.
And then you get a little bit of a gap, but not much to go to Miami. It's just like, I don't know how these dudes do it. It's like, I feel like the season is just, when it gets to this point in the calendar, it's ice and recover. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. I mean, but quality fight. He's like a grappler.
He was done against Zabata Marias. I mean, that guy had him. The Spaniard had him on the ropes too.
Dude, Alcaraz had him. I was about to turn it off.
He was up a break in the. He was up a break in the second and a break in the third.
Yeah, he was at the double break. He was in the second. He was completely choking him out, and then he came back. They stayed.
He was up a double break.
Yeah, they're breaking the crap out. They broke each other so many times in the second set.
And then it was 2-0 in the third set, and Alcaraz was up love 30 on Norrie's serve, I think. Yeah. And then Norrie battled back to get a hold. But that was
tough.
I mean, Norrie just his mental fortitude and just ability to stay with his he stays the course.
Tough.
So they call it the golden swing. Is that what they call the clay court in South America? Shout out to Austin Pedreda who stays on me. He's like, you didn't know what the golden swing was? I'm like, no, dude. He's like, man, I thought you were a big tennis guy. I'm like,
I'm sorry.
He always tries to get me on a nugget. That's what we call him. I'm like, dude,
it's the golden clay.
I guess. The South Americans come with a ton of energy though. Like that, like I said before the show, you and I are going to Acapulco 100%. I'm saying next year we go.
It's going to be great. I want to go there. You said that's the one that looks like, I thought it was right
on the water.
On the water.
It is. And it's just like the players love it. I think it's becoming, I want to ask players about that when I start doing some of the, I guess Indian Wells, big news for the Pure Tennis podcast. Credentialed media now.
Oh.
So hopefully I get to ask some of these guys. But I think Acapulco is sliding into
that'll be that'll be another one.
Some of these guys' favorite event. I think Indian Wells, and I bet Acapulco would get. If I asked people what the top 5 events were outside the slams, I bet you Acapulco would get in there 60% of the time. I'm going to say I'm going to ask 10 guys this year at Indian Wells where Acapulco fits in on their calendar favorites.
It's a good draw.
You got Holger versus Shelton in the round 1. You got Isner versus Fritz. I saw just going off the top of my head. Who else is in that on day 1?
Tommy Paul, Emilio Gomez, but that's more for us. But that's still cool.
It's a good draw for both players. It's a fun matchup there.
Yeah.
Who we got? I'm trying to think. There's another. JJ has a qualifier. Casper has I believe a qualifier.
Manarino and Cam Norrie.
No, so I mean, I think South Americans
Yoshi and Tiafo.
The way they support their players it's something different. When I noticed at the U.S. Open, I was like, damn, they have organized chants and stuff for these players. I think that's why these players, even though it's not the clay court season is not upon us just yet, even though it is the next slam is played obviously Roland Garros. These players are willing to go down there and change up the surfaces just to kind of get that type of reciprocation and fan love, I guess, because Carlos and those guys love it. I mean, and I remember Holger did it. I think it's just become I feel like I don't remember those events being that hyped up in prior years.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of moving it it's the Golden Swing. So
the Golden Swing.
It includes the Argentina, Rio, Acapulco, and I'm guessing that the Santiago, Chile one is the final one.
Yeah, I believe that sounds right. And the women are down there as well. Shout out to Katie McNally.
Yep.
Was bummed that she wasn't able to pull it out because that was
that was bad. That was brutal.
It was tough. Up 4-0 in the third set.
In the second.
She pulled through the second after being up 4-0, then got pushed to a breaker. I thought it was going to be but she played the match was pretty high level. I mean,
was it Peterson? She's good.
She's
that
good.
Girl. She's got big forehand.
It's her first final since 2018 or 19. So that girl has had her breakout week. And I'd never watched Peterson hit a ball before, so it was a new face for me. I thought Katie looked. I sent out a tweet about it, but it's like her movement and her variety have just been a huge asset for her over the last that she didn't have. I mean, her variety was actually just playing doubles. She always had great hands and was pretty good taking the ball early and striking the ball with hitting targets, especially with I think the return in doubles helps you so much in that aspect. But now that she's a better athlete, just more fit, and definitely playing with a different swagger, I will shout out Gruskin again, but he did call that she would make the final, and I didn't see that coming.
Peterson?
And she was McNally.
McNally.
She was 2 games away from making that happen.
Well, yeah, and that Peterson just lost.
Did she just lose in the final to Camelia Georgie?
Yep.
What was the score there?
She lost in 3.
Wow.
7-6, 6-1, 6-2.
Okay. Camelia Georgie ripped Sloane Stephens 0-0. I mean, what happened to – I guess, Sloane Stephens and Diego Schwartzman need to reconvene on a new game plan in the offseason. Both those players have been dusty lately.
Dusty.
Very dusty.
Dusty.
I mean, Diego Schwartzman, I thought this was going to be a huge opportunity for him to kind of right the ship on clay courts in South America.
Golden Swing.
Argentina Open, his homeland.
Yep.
Just gets juiced by who did he get? Zapata Marias.
Yeah.
Just rips him. And I was just like, Diego's lost, I think, 12 of 13 matches now or something that right. It's it's bad. The youngsters are going to be seen trying to licking their fingers when they see Diego now. He's going to get chopped in Acapulco too if he plays there. It's just, I don't know. Diego fans, the wagon might be coming to a halt here.
Well, and then Sebastian Baez, which is Diego's kind of twin brother, he got stood on by the big tall guy from Chile too.
Jerry.
He
got. Yeah,
I think that because last year at this time, those two guys were like,
Baez
don't ever count Schwartzman out. Don't ever count Baez out.
Baez is a top 20 clay court guy. I mean,
I think he was still top 30 when I looked at him when he was playing.
He'll be dropping out. I think he had to defend a good amount of points this past couple weeks.
Yeah, because Yari's not even top 150, I don't think.
Yeah, so. he had a chance to take out.
That guy's tall.
He is. He was up a set on Carlos and put a pretty good fight up in that second.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
Okay.
I got a few notes just talking about the top 10 guys on the men's game. Novak back in action, first time since taking the title down under in Dubai. What do you expect to see from the world number one?
Dominance at every level.
Is he taking the title in Dubai?
I don't see anybody on that side, except Hubie. Hubie has a little chance in that draw, but Medvedev, Medi too. But I just don't think that they match up either of those guys on Djokovic.
Isn't that wild?
Obviously Djokovic lost to Medi in the U.S. Open, but so maybe if you get that kind of confident Medi kind of playing him.
I think he's going to be in a good mental state to make a push at Novak. Novak is going to be working through the kinks a little bit, just with a little bit of time off. Yeah. But Novak's a different.
The top of that bracket's rough, and then the bottom of the bracket, you got Zverev, who hasn't won a match since I can't remember when.
I'm rooting for Zverev. I know people have always, but I really want to see Zverev. Tennis is better when he's good. It just is. When he's playing at the best of his abilities, it just creates more rivalries in the game, and you got just the beef with him and Tsitsipas and other players. He's just a good person to have in the draw. I think as far as just drawing crowds and bringing more excitement to the game.
He gets Lehechka in round one.
Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. Wow, Zverev has Lehechka in round one. I might have to. I bet you Lehechka is going to be the biggest favorite in that.
I mean, that would be Zverev hasn't won a match, and Lehechka's not dropping to anybody except for Andy Murray in a death fight.
Andy Murray, Amazon needs to make that documentary immediately. I swear, the run he just put on in Qatar deserves a mini doc.
I agree.
FAA plays in Dubai. Do you think he continues on his? He's playing pretty well, losing to Medi in back-to-back weeks. Can Felix? Do you see him breaking through and kind of grabbing one of these big titles?
I keep thinking that he's gonna be like a real contender this year for a slam and stuff. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
He just that last Medi match looked like the pressure still gets to him. He still when the moment is right for him to take it and step on the gas and finish a point off that in one of those big moments. There still seems to be a little bit of mental lapse there, where he just doesn't quite believe that he can take this away from one of these top players.
Yep.
And that's what separates him right now, because he beats majority of the time he's taking out the guys that he's supposed to beat.
Right. He'll beat Cressy. He plays him round one.
Yep.
But
will he though?
That's the thing though.
Will he though?
Because I think he will. But
that's a tricky matchup. I do expect him to take out Cressy fully, but I think it'll be like a 4-4 or 6-4 match. But if Felix doesn't return well, and gets a little clunky on the return, Cressy is his level of belief is through the roof. With what he's done.
But you're right. He's gonna have to take it from either Lehechka, Zverev, Rublev, or
how do you feel about your boy Rublev?
I think
I think we've seen him play his best tennis. I think his best tennis is behind him.
Was he 5? He's still top 5.
Is he?
I think so.
Is he? Let me see. Are you sure?
He's got a win already this year.
I think he dropped out of the top 5. Maybe not.
So much anti-Rublev bias.
No, he's number 6.
Is he number 6? He has a win already this year.
Novak, Alcaraz, Stefanos, Casper, Fritz, Ruby.
He's the 2 seed.
I just don't. I'm not a believer. I just don't believe it. I don't believe in this guy.
I know you're not.
He's so one-dimensional.
I know you're not.
And he's got his. I will say his.
Wait, let's check Nate's intuition on bias. How many titles did Rublev win last year? Guess.
Oh, that's a good question. Hold me accountable to these cool takes.
I'm just curious. How many times do you think he won versus how many actually won?
So how many titles did Rublev?
How many titles did Rublev win in 2022?
I'm gonna say, I think he won Belgrade.
That's a hard question because
it is. I'm gonna say.
What?
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay, so
no,
he won 4.
All right,
but that's pretty good. Okay. You were close. That would be a down.
What did he win?
Let me go.
He beat Novak in his return in Belgrade. I don't think that was in the final though, but I think he won that title.
He won.
Did he win? What did he win?
He won in Belgrade. Okay. He won in Dubai.
Okay. Yeah.
He won in Marseille.
He took Marseille. Oh, okay.
And he won in Dijon.
Is that where is that in?
Must be.
Is that what is that? A 500 or 250? 250?
I don't know.
No, Rublev. I mean, obviously I just think he's just so limited. Like he hasn't found any more layers to his game other than slap. I mean, he can't play defense very formidably, and I still can't believe Holger Rune lost to him at the Aussie Open. I thought that was a missed opportunity for Holger there, but
Spain, Guijon's in Spain.
Really, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to tell you what I was going to guess, but no, I think Ruby. I like the guy, and I will say his apparel line. I think it's his own brand actually. I will say he is one of the better dressed guys now. A lot of crap Nike was giving him was not looking too fire. So
it's a $250, and he won $612,000.
Not bad from that event.
Good take.
There you go.
Good take.
So you got it.
It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah. You got any more takes on the tour right now? I know it's getting late, and I'm
it
just
is.
like, sheesh.
We had a lot. I would say that like if anyone was following our last prediction, I predicted that Wu would beat Isner, and Nate said that Isner would beat Wu, and I was correct.
Dallas
so
Open.
just holding him to it. We didn't talk about Dallas.
Where did Wu? Where has Wu gone the last couple of weeks?
I don't know. Where's Wu?
Where
is Wu?
Where's Wu? Where's Waldo?
Where's Feng Shui?
We gotta find Wu.
Where's Feng Shui?
Guy, don't say that, man.
Don't do that.
You'll get capped on for that.
We just lost our sponsor.
Yeah, we did. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Wait, do you have to sell gear?
We'll sell gear on the next podcast.
Okay, we'll sell gear
on the next
later.
Podcast. Guys, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Enjoy Acapulco. Enjoy Dubai. I will give my quick predictions. I think Dubai, Djokovic. I think Acapulco. I'm going to say Carlos pulls out. I'm going to say Cam Norrie runs out of gas. I'm going to say Acapulco is taken home by... Give me Holger. I think Holger's healthy. Give me Holger Rune in a... I bet I'll look at the favorites. I need to see it on Tennis Abstract.
Is it clay?
No. Hard court.
Okay.
Beautiful hard courts.
Ben Shelton's in that draw. You think he's going to get through? Holger's going to get through Ben?
Yeah.
Round one?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I just think...
God,
yeah.
that's a good matchup.
Great first round matchup. That's
okay.
Shelton. I'll definitely be tuning into that match. But guys, like we mentioned briefly, ecstatic to be headed to Indian Wells again, year 2. It's really a dream come true for the kid because I've always wanted to go to these events, and I feel like a kid when I go there. Like I feel like I'm a kid in a candy shop, mountains in the backdrop, desert, palm trees, best tennis players in the world, and it's just. It's like Jurassic Park for tennis. I will say, though, the average fan age, that's why the energy. On TV, if it doesn't sound like a Masters 1000s, it is because every fan is about 60 years old. Give or take a couple years. But
good to know.
It's just like, I
will look at that next
you
time.
should. Dude. I'm just telling you, like, every person there is just like, no wonder it's not rowdy in here. It's just like, if you hear a clap, it's probably me, and I'll make sure every match gets a round of applause. So, anyway. All right, guys. Have a great week. We will be back in the booth soon.